It's kind of off color as this might sound. Your commode is probably the best snapshot of your health that you could get without going to a doctor and having tests done like MRIs and blood work and so on and so forth. And here's why. You should be eliminating 3 times a day. It should be approximately 12 hours from your last meal. So basically, you should be eliminating somewhere around breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Ultimately, your bowel movements should be effortless and odorless. Now, I know for many of you viewing here today that might not be the case, and that might seem like an idealistic goal or the nirvana of all elimination scenarios. But the reality is it's very, very doable. I had digestive issues from literally the time I was in my late teens until the time I was in my early 30s. And in the last 10 years or so of my life, you could basically set a clock to the way that I rid the food out of my body. It's the nicest way I can say that. And so when you look in the commode, there's some things you want to look for. A edited version of the digestive process is after you chew and masticate food, it goes through your stomach, through your esophagus to your stomach. Your stomach does the job that it's supposed to do, releases the food to the small intestine, and then it goes into your large intestine. This is, again, a very edited, condensed version. And then ultimately, by the time that food reaches the lower part of the large bowel or the large intestine, the benefits of that food have been completely utilized. So at that point in time, it is truly nothing more than waste. So common sense is going to tell you that the longer that sits there, that the worse that it is. It's no different than leaving your garbage in your house on a hot day, because inside your body it's 98.6 degrees. Would you leave food out if your house was 98.6, which would be unbearable, but if it was, would you leave food in there for days and then eat that food? Of course you wouldn't. Those same toxins have a lot to do with your overall health. Did you know that over 80% of your immune function is within your intestinal system? So there are many different women, yeast buildup, candida infections, all these things have a lot to do with the fact that waste is not being properly utilized and moved through the system. So what you want to look for when you look in the commode is your matter should be shaped very much like your colon, which is kind of like this. So if it's got that kind of wrapped around coiled look and it's well formed and it's easily moved out of your body, it should be a quick movement. It shouldn't be a struggle to get out. If those things are happening, that's a pretty good sign. If you're eliminating 3 times a day, that's pretty much you're right where you're supposed to be. If, however, you're only eliminating, say, once a day, some people tell me once every other day or even less, and it's hard to complete the process, the matter is hard itself, it's not well formed, or it's in many small little separate pieces, that means that it's getting hard and impacted in the colon, and that you have to strain to get that out. And it's breaking off in pieces because it's been left in there too long and it's too hard. And there's many different reasons why it could be: lack of water, lack of fiber. We'll get into that in just a moment. But when you're pushing and you're stretching to eliminate, you are stretching that colon wall. The more that gets stretched and the more loosey-goosey that gets, the harder it is for matter to move efficiently through that process, as you've seen, I'm sure, many diagrams of your intestinal system. So, and the other thing that would be not good as you're looking in your commode is if your stool is not formed at all. Stool that is very loose or watery or not formed is a very telltale sign of your body's inability to absorb nutrients. Because if your intestinal system is absorbing nutrients and absorbing the matter the way it should, it would be well formed, and like I said, very much in the shape of your colon. So, you have constipation, you have diarrhea, and you'll simply say, well, I'm kind of in the middle. Now and then I have some constipation. Now and then I have a little diarrhea, but I only go once a day, I only go twice a day. There's something, and this is Pillars of Elimination, so some of the things we're talking about are a little on the fence as far as topic matter, but it's very important. And this is the corn test. The corn test is, corn, as you I'm sure well know, is an undigestible carbohydrate. So when you eat corn, it leaves your body looking the same way as it did, the whole of it, the piece of corn does, as it did when you ingested it. And so you can basically, you go ahead and have a good helping of corn, and you will trace the elimination of that corn. And if it's 12 hours, you get an A. If it's within 24 hours, you get a B. If it's 2 days later, 3 days later, your grade just keeps going down. If you're seeing that corn 3 and 4 days later, that means that matter is staying in your system way too long. So that's another way that you can check how well you're eliminating. Now, some tips to improve the elimination process. Water is very key. Of course, water, I believe, is pillar number 1. And water helps soften the matter. It helps the waste matter in your intestinal system to absorb more nutrients. And one of the tips that I tell everyone who calls in and writes us at Kylea, which are numerous, we give many different health tips. One is the first thing you do every day when you wake up. Maybe you have to urinate or whatever, but after you've taken care of whatever personal business you've done, the first thing you put in your body every day should be 12 to 16 ounces of water. And while I wouldn't invite you to gulp it down, I would tell you to drink it fairly quick. What you want to do is create kind of a flushing process in a relatively empty intestinal system. Now, your lower bowel will have some matter in it, but your stomach, small intestine, and the higher portions of your large bowel should be fairly empty. That water sloshing through there helps take matter off walls. It also helps provide some force, a little pressure, if you will, to relieve matter. So that's a very simple tip that you can just start, and you should start every day with that for many different reasons. The last thing you want to do is put piping hot caffeine and coffee on a completely empty intestinal system. Not good. So, although some people do use a cup of coffee caffeine to help them, and if 1 cup of coffee helps you eliminate, there's nothing wrong with that. If you need 3 or 4, you've got bigger problems. So increase your water. Stay around a ½ ounce per pound of body weight a day, give or take, depending how often you exercise. Fiber, of course. We hear about fiber all the time. Soluble fibers, gentle fibers that you find in fruits and vegetables are the best type of things that you can take. Fiber supplements, the low-priced commercial brands, are pretty harsh, and that's something certainly I would recommend. Ayurvedics, Eastern medicine, puts out some very high-quality fiber supplements that are not inexpensive, but they're very gentle and yet very effective. But most of you, should not have to use fiber supplements. You should be able to get plenty of fiber in your food. The Total Living Drink contains 5 grams of fiber per serving, and of course a lot of other vitamins and minerals, including probiotics, that help the intestinal system to absorb nutrients. When you absorb nutrients, you will move matter quicker. The Total Living Drink contains billions and billions and billions of live cells of Acidophilus, Lactobacillus. You'd have to eat gallons of yogurt to get what you would get in 1 serving of the Total Living Drink. And of course, you don't have the 30 grams of sugar in the Total Living Drink like you do in yogurt. So there are some great ways there to get extra fiber. And water-rich foods, again, your vegetables and your fruits are the best fiber that you could possibly attain. A lot of people ask me about the fiber in wheat. Processed wheat or cooked wheat has a lot of negative health ramifications. We really invite people to stay away from grains that are processed or cooked, which are most grains. If they're sprouted grains, or if you're truly using the whole kernel and not destroying it with heat, grains can be very helpful. But for most people, that's not something we would recommend for getting up the fiber in your diet. It would be much better coming from fruits and vegetables. So there we have it on elimination, and we want to invite you to start looking in your commode, start grading yourself, if you will, on your elimination. I can promise you that you can track the progress of your health will be very congruous to how well you're eliminating. And if you look on our site, you'll find other subjects about this, including cleansing, even fasting if you like, things that can help increase your elimination, make it more efficient. And when you do, friend, I'm telling you, you will see your health improve. You'll feel more energy. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll see a difference in your complexion. You'll see a difference in the thickness of your hair and the sheen of your hair. You'll see it in your nails. I mean, it's amazing what eliminating toxins in a timely, quick manner will do. Your body will take what it needs right away. What you want to do is, when it's done getting what it needs, get it out of you.